Welcome, everybody, to Come Back to Love Radio. I'm Robyn Vogel, and we are on Dream Visions 7. Welcome to our return listeners. Welcome to our new listeners. We are here every week, Thursdays, 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern, and we are here to explore the journeys of healing, of connection, of transformation in love and relationship. Again, I'm your host, Robyn Vogel. I'm a love and intimacy coach, an internal family systems therapist, and creator of Heal Your Heart. Join me as I share stories, tools, insights to help you rewire and rewrite your love story, whether it's about overcoming heartbreak, unraveling old patterns, or reigniting the spark in your current relationship. Together, we'll explore how love begins within and expands outward to create meaningful, fulfilling connections with yourself and with others. Again, we're here every day live on the radio. I mean, not every day, every Thursday, 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. And you can listen in your car, you can listen online, you can listen while you're going for a walk, or simply ask Alexa to play Dream Visions 7 Radio, which is really cool. In each episode, I welcome incredible guests with unique perspectives and expertise to help us dive into topics like love, intimacy, relationship, healing, sexuality, childhood wounds, healing traumas, all about coming back to love with yourself. Today, I am so happy to have you, Shantana, a special guest with me. Shantana Telise is a channel, a medium, a healer, and an all-around, from what I can tell from being with you energetically for the last 6 months, a very bright light in the world today. So I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm so excited about what's to come here on this show today. It feels very auspicious and a little bit in the mystery, so I love that. So, do you want to say anything else about yourself in terms of who you are in the world and what you're doing, how you share your gifts?
I share my gifts. Oh my goodness. I get to work with I run a master class and I get to actually work with my students and I teach how to channel. So I get to help other light workers and star seeds come into their own gifts and learn how to work with them. And that's honestly my out of everything I do is my favorite. Like I get to teach, I get to help them come up and realize how incredibly powerful they are. And to me, that's so fulfilling. It just it makes showing up so easy.
Wow, that's amazing. You've already started like your life of kind of train the trainer type of work, which is really beautiful. And of course, I'm curious, and I know our listeners are curious, like when did you know that you were a channel and a medium? And also you might share the difference between those two if there's a distinction for you, which there probably is. But yeah.
Yeah. I actually grew up very psychic. So I didn't know it was a channel growing up. My dad said I started blacking out from the time I was 2 years old because I'm a trance channel, which is someone coming in and like a being coming in and stepping into my body and speaking through me. So I didn't know, and he said he used to use Christ consciousness to bring me back because things would just step in and take over. And like when I grew up, it was not the love and light that that I get to experience today and like share with my own daughter. It was very graveyard hunting, like very much in the spirit ghost kind of area. And that definitely makes a huge difference. So channel.
Wow. Let's pause right there first because I know my listeners are like, wait a minute. Let's say that again. So when you were young, sounds like you had an amazing dad. When you were young, I think you called it like blackout, and that was when beings were coming through you to communicate.
Yeah, and they weren't light.
And they weren't light. Oh, I see. And what was that like for you? And how old were you?
It started from when I was 2. And I remember so many times throughout my childhood where I would just black out, like, oh, I scared my siblings. Like, I feel for them. But none of them have anything to do with this spiritual life. And I think sometimes it's because I probably freaked them out pretty bad.
Right. And they ran in the other direction.
So I have a lot of times from like, especially in my teens, if I would get freaked out, like lights would flicker, doors would sit and open. Like I was the ghost magnet. Plus, I was a channel, so I would all of a sudden something would come in and take over, and I had no idea what was happening. Probably until my 20s is when I actually started hearing what channeling was. So I have all these instances where I'd be in mid-conversation and all of a sudden something walks in and takes over. And like I remember this time I was holding a knife and I was cutting and I was having a conversation with my sister, and she told me she was terrified because I'm holding this knife, and then I blacked out. So
Wow. So to them, it looks like you're blacked out, but to you, your experience was that you were getting information or a voice coming through you to communicate.
no, it was taking over. I wasn't there.
Oh, right. You weren't there. Oh, so you don't remember what?
Oh, I
Oh,
blacked.
I see.
I could feel the energy shift even now when I trance channel. I can feel the energy shift, and then it's like slowly my consciousness starts to fade, and then something would take over.
I see. Oh, wow. Wow, that must have been scary for your family members.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe for you too.
Oh yeah. I thought I was crazy at some points.
Oh my goodness. Wow. And it sounds like it would just happen like you didn't expect it. It would happen randomly.
Yeah.
My goodness. So when did you, I guess sounds like in your early 20s or teen, like when did you figure out what was going on? And then how did you make that shift to
Um,
not letting those beings come through, I imagine. Not the beings that weren't light.
they were there too, but I never, but there was so many like spirits. Like I was the ghost magnet, so there was always ghosts. Like my whole childhood was like
Mm.
ghost, ghost, ghost. Like wake up next to them standing over my bed. Yeah, it was terrifying at times. So I didn't actually get to experience the light beings until later. And it was actually after I had my daughter, because I closed off my gifts. My dad told me once that I had to make a choice because I was in a relationship and he told me that I hit him and I just blacked out and I never hit him. And he told me I did, and he was so upset with me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And my dad was like, you need to make a choice. And so I shut him off. And then when I had my daughter, it was like spirit was like, no, like my guys were like, mm-mm. They tore our life together apart. And then when I had my daughter, I was told by a psychic that my daughter has all the same gifts as me, and that truly terrified me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was in that moment that I was like, okay, I have to. And like my aunts were like, oh, go get Reiki. And that's actually how I found that psychic. And that's where it started.
Oh, oh, wow. So the person you did Reiki with was the one who helped you
Mhm.
figure this out. So you did shut your gifts
Yes.
down for a while?
Yeah.
For how long?
Good three. No, I want to say they didn't let me go long. It would have been 2 to 3 years, more along the lines of two, because we were together for 3 years total. And yeah,
In that
they
relationship.
just
Hmm. And how was that for you when you were not sharing your gifts?
not connected. Probably a relief from dead people, though.
Right. Wow. I mean, it people not sharing their gifts or closing off to their gifts is something I think we all experience actually in different ways until we learn to bring them out and have confidence in them. But
Yeah,
yours was so like doors were wide open and then you were like, okay, I got to close those doors. It sounds, like very distinct.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely they did my team was not for it. They were like, no, sorry. So then I had to relearn how to do a lot of things when I started learning Reiki. And then my guides led me to another mentor where I actually learned what channeling was. Because my mentor for Reiki, like she helped me so much and then didn't know all the stuff. And then once it was time for me to level up, they brought me to my next mentor and I won a scholarship into her program that I didn't even know was a thing. I thought it was a scam. I
Oh,
just
wow.
commented.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was like
Wow.
they were like, no, you're gonna do this. And from there on, it was just it took me some time getting to learn it. Like I've been doing this a long time,
Mhm.
but it took me a few years to really get it under control where I was like, okay, I'm channeling, like now I can have that clear connection with my guides. I know what I'm specifically doing. Like they'll come to me and be like, okay, we're going to specifically work on love. We're going to specifically work on money. Here's what this person needs. Like the communication now has evolved so much that I'm always just having a conversation.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So how long ago was that you like left that relationship, it sounds like, and you were
Um,
like, okay, I need to learn how to hone my skills and my gifts and my craft.
I left him before my daughter was even born, but it was when my daughter was born. She's 8, so I would say 8 years
Okay.
ago.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And now fast forward and we'll catch up with the middle, but now you're teaching people how to do the same.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow.
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, and do people come to you one-on-one to say, so and so passed away, or, I mean,
Um,
that's mediumship. Do you want to make a distinction between those two?
yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't do like I do mediumship. But I don't do mediumship. I don't like mediumship.
No?
I'm yeah, I'm very good at it. I learned
Uh-huh.
that, but I don't love it. So I just decided let's stick to spirit guides. So mediumship is more with past loved ones. That's the difference. Like I wouldn't, and some people do, but I personally would not want to like trans channel with a passed on loved one, like have them step into my body or anything like that. Like it's so it because when you're working with a spirit guide or angels, they have a much higher vibration. So it actually forces you to like raise your vibration up. You have to go into your heart. You got to bring your heart's vibration up so that you can actually hold that frequency. Whereas mediumship, they're on a much lower plane. So they can be a part of your team. Like my grandfather, he'll come in if I'm working with specific peoples and they need body balancing. He'll come in and interrupt my session and be like, "No, honey, we got to do it this way. Like this is what they need." And so I will allow that because he was a healer when he was alive, but
Hmm.
that's a rare case. So
Also, you
most,
know him and his vibration, right? Like,
yeah, and he
yeah.
was one of the best body balancers that I've ever come across. So I know how good. So when he comes in and energetically is moving things and realigning things, I'm like, okay, you do you. That's about it. But mediumship it's kind of like an art. It's you learn to pick up, like you can hold objects and there's so many different ways you can do it. Like you can walk into a haunted house and you're gonna feel the energies and go, okay, there's something in here. And usually it's a lower energy where you can hold an object and read the energy from it and something can be attached. Whereas channeling, we are bringing ourselves up, not being in that lower space.
That's interesting. I've definitely had people show up, like for me, like someone's unborn child, for example. And then I'll know like, oh, it's a girl, because she's standing right there. Or a client who lost her mother. And the mother was trying to communicate and was giving I'm very visual, so things come to me in images and then they kind of have to be interpreted. It's like she's showing me this cross stitch thing, something like that. And then the person will say, "Oh yeah, I can't believe it because that's because, she used to do this thing, this lacing or whatever." Um,
Mhm.
but I mean, it's a little bit different than mediumship, I would say, that kind of experience, right?
Oh yeah.
What
Oh
would
yeah.
you say about that? Because that's not letting somebody come into my field, for example, like into my body to communicate. I would say
That's
that's different. What would you say?
I would say it's yeah, it is different. Like it depends on what because you there's more than just trans channeling. Like there's indirect channeling, which would be more of what that is, because you're picking up on the energy around you and using your psychic abilities to actually receive. So it's like that's your clairvoyance is your strongest one then. And then if you're using your other ones, if you're getting any communication, you're just bringing it all together and going, oh, okay, this is what I'm picking up. And people have spirits like loved ones attached or like staying close to them. So they're really easy to pick up that way. And people have spirit guides the same where they're always around. Because
Mm.
you have a spirit guide for everything, but the thing with spirit guides is you actually have to ask permission, or you have not ask permission. They have to have permission to get help.
Mm.
That's what people don't understand because they'll be like, well, I want this. Why isn't it working? Why aren't my guides doing anything? I'm like, well, did you ask them? Once you ask them, you're giving them that space to actually interfere in your life and do what's for your highest good.
Oh,
Whereas a loved one, they're going to come in and be like, hey, give them this message, or hey, like this is going on. They need to pay attention to this. Like I'm leaving them signs where they can do more of that. Whereas
mhm.
spirit guides, you have to actually be like, okay, here's what I need. And you got to talk to the right one too. Like I'll be like, okay, my spirit guide that's working with me in love or money or business, I'll be like, okay, here's what I need from you. Like, I don't know how this is going to happen or how, like, that's your job, but here's what I need. Show me how easy it is to get it. And then you're giving them that permission and they can help you.
Wow. Okay. I want to talk more about the spirit guides. I just want to like close the piece around mediumship to say that, I mean, it's really interesting what you said and how that it can be indirect or indirect, and that generally the vibration is lower. And I love the invitation to do the channeling piece because what you said was so beautiful. And so I just want to reflect it back is like the invitation is to like raise your vibration and be in that heart-centered high vibration place, which of course feels good to be in. So that's a really interesting distinction. I guess from my experiences of at least in the two that I described, and I've had others, I don't know that I could make that distinction yet about around that very high vibration versus, I mean, those things didn't feel particularly low vibration, of course, because they were just, like you said, awarenesses in my energy field and, you know, um, so that's interesting.
But I
Yeah.
feel like it's not just about like you can tell the difference doing mediumship if you're going to connect in, say, with somebody's mother, you can feel that energy come in like around you. The energy in the room is going to shift, but it's going to do the same with your spirit guides because until you're actually acknowledging them and calling them in, because they're not always right there, they're off doing things. So it's going to be the same shift, whereas they're going to enter in the room and you're going to feel the shift. It's just a little bit, it's higher because with spirit guides, especially to channel with them, you do have to bring your energy up and you got to be in that heart space. So that whereas with loved ones, you don't have to, but it's helpful because it does help people open up their hearts and be like, oh, hey, I actually got to get a message from my mom or my dad, and now I feel at peace again. Like I just feel so good. So it does help bring up. So there's different ways you can look at it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Especially like you said, if they're leaving clues about something and you kind of want to know what that is, know what those clues mean if you haven't figured it out yet. That happens to me a lot. I get lots of clues and messages around, and I'm like, okay, I've seen a snake and heard a snake 4 times in the last 3 days, for example. That happened to me in Costa Rica a couple weeks ago.
It's the
Yeah,
snake.
I opened my door in Costa Rica and there was a snake at the door, which the people that I was renting from said has never happened in 15 years. And thankfully, I looked at it and it didn't move and I kind of pushed it with my shoe, which I now know I should never have done because they actually jump and they're usually poisonous, or at least your body has an intense reaction that can be very dangerous. So I pushed it with my shoe and it moved a little bit, but I got that it wasn't there to hurt me. It was there for some kind of message because the later that same day, I went on a hike, came back, went to get some food. And as we were leaving the restaurant, my friend just pulled out a bunch of cards and said, pick a card. And I wasn't really paying attention. I just picked a card out and it was the serpent. And then later, I had a little reading with somebody who was just giving some free readings, putting together some birth chart things. And she said, among other animals, one of my animals is the serpent. So yeah, there were like different
Yeah.
different messages, very tangible with the actual snake at my door, um, that were notable.
See, to me, I would think that that comes from spirit guides because that would be a spirit animal guide.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's what I assumed. Yeah.
Mhm. See, they may leave fun messages like that, whereas I find with spirits, they tend to like my daughter had her first ghost experience the other day.
Hmm.
She left one of her walkie-talkies on, and I didn't see it, and all of a sudden, like a little girl started talking through it, and there was like they're all the rest of them were off. And it like cut in like it was a spirit. And then you walk in, when I walked into her room, because I ran in there so fast, every hair on my body stood up. I was like, okay, yeah, she didn't sleep in her own bed that night.
Oh gosh. Wow.
Big.
Yeah, my that happened to my daughter too when she was around that same age. She saw, and I think she's only seen one her whole life. She might have shut down her capacity, but she saw one ghost standing in our attic den. We were together on the couch watching TV, and she said, "Do you see that man there?" And I looked over and I didn't see him because I don't see ghosts. I sense energy more than seeing visually. And yeah, and then she described what he was wearing and what he was doing, and that was the only time she's actually, that I'm aware of, that she's actually seen a ghost.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was really interesting. The person was checking out my books.
I wish I've only had a few. I have so many ghost experiences.
Yes, I am sure you do. All right, I want to get back to talking about spirit guides, but let's take a quick commercial break first, and we'll be right back. Come back to love radio. We are here with Shantana Telise, and I am really, this is so, so interesting. I'm imagining that our listeners are like, wow, so cool. It's rare. I do know a couple of other people that see, ghosts and have regular conversations with them. But it's certainly not everybody. Um, and I guess that's one quick question before we get to spirit guides. Does everybody have this capacity or no?
Everybody's psychic.
Yeah.
That's a huge misconception, and because most people associate like psychic with like, oh, I'm going to do a psychic reading, but no, we have psychic abilities that we use to do healing, to do all this stuff, to do mediumship, to do channeling. So it's just like you just open and unlock these abilities where a lot of people actually have them dormant, but over the last few years, I find more and more have been waking up, and then we can do activations to help bring out those psychic abilities.
Ah,
Yeah, and then you
very
have
cool. What was the last thing you said?
stronger ones, and you like because like you said, you're clairvoyant. Do some activations, your clairaudience probably really kick in, like everything would start coming
Mm.
together a lot more.
Hmm,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So you're talking a lot about spirit guides, and I love what you said about how we have to ask them specifically. Can you so first of all, that's something I talk about that too. Like ask and receive is a real thing. It's a real thing. And it's really good to know that and remember that. And to get very specific about it, it sounds like, I mean, you can share more, but it sounds like, people might, there's of course tons of conversations around manifestation in the world these days. And people will often say to me, as they say to you and others, I've been asking, but it's not happening. I'm asking, but it's not happening. And so, how would you respond to that related to the piece you just said?
I like to like when you ask, I like to ask them like, show me
Mm,
how easy it is, because a lot of times when we ask, we're asking from desperation. And we're
mm,
not asking with surrender and trust. We're just going, no, I really need this. I need you to, can you please bring it to me? And we step into that desperate energy or victimhood of, I don't have it. So you're just like telling the universe, like, I don't have this. And so then your guides are trying to help you, but you're putting the blocks up. So when I have conversations with my guides, I'm like, okay, like, here's what's going on. I know you know this, but I'm going, like, I just need to get it out. Let's have this conversation. Like, let's get it out. And then here's what I need. So can you show me how easy this is? Make it happen. Like, you're the one that knows how to get this. So you do you. I'm going to let you do your thing. And I'm just gonna know that he's got my back. And then I find when I approach it like that, especially like I have business meetings with my team every day because I have specific guides that I have business meetings with. And I call them in and I'm like, okay, here's my goals, and I'll name each because I'm a channel, like I know their names, so I'll name each one off and be like, okay, here's what I need from you, here's what I need from you, here's what I need from you. And then but the biggest thing that I start with is thank you. Like it's the gratitude in there. And I find when I actually step into like start my business meetings and I step into that gratitude, oh my goodness, like I feel so much love that I'm just like, I truly am so grateful for you guys because I feel like you're my act like it's like you're here physically with me. You're like an actual person that I'm talking to, not just in the metaphysical realms. So it feels so good. And it's like, wow, we're actually doing this together. And then I don't feel like I'm doing things alone. I'm actually working with my team to get things done.
That is amazing. That is so amazing. That takes what I've done with my business, excuse me, which is to ask it questions and get, what should I work on today? Or, what needs to happen today? What would be a contribution? And get how many people do you want in this, workshop, for example, and listen for the responses. And what you said really broadens that so much for me personally. Like, I love the idea of having my spirit guides at the table every morning and like
Right?
talking with them. And that's amazing. Amazing, amazing.
It's
Wow. Can you give us a specific example of like, I don't know, something you remember in your life that got actualized or that happened as a result of these business meetings or yeah.
so I'm in the process of moving
Huh?
right now. And this was only a couple weeks ago. I had a business meeting with my team and I just said, okay, like I need damage deposit, I need rent, I need like I'm moving to a different city, so like I need to make sure I have enough money to cover all expenses and my normal expenses. Plus, I want to go grocery shopping and do a big grocery shop. So I'm like, can we please take care of this and show me how easy it is? But right now, I need this right away because I want to make sure that I'm secure in every way. And I had this business meeting with them, and then the next day, and then later on, I actually had a sales call with a client. It went really great. And then the very next day, she signed up to my masterclass, and there was like, there's your damage deposit, there's your rent, there's everything you need to start. And then we can keep going from there. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing.
Yeah. It was just like boom, boom. Like, I love it.
I love, yeah, the first of all, that's amazing. And I hope everyone's listening and taking notes. And actually, I want to invite everybody to re-listen to this because you've pulled out so many like very specific action steps that are very, very helpful, obviously, in helping us manifest and actualize what we want in our lives. I mean, one thing is asking and not expecting that our spirit guides are going to help us. Like they need to know that we want help, and it sounds like we need to give them permission and information, and yeah, so they can actually help. And the line, "Show me how easy it is," or "Show me how easy it can be." That is so beautiful. I mean, most people, as you know, walk around feeling like life is hard and things are hard and oh, this is going to be so hard. For me, there's like an ancestral line of suffering, and like this addiction to suffering and I understand, why they were suffering when they were many generations ago. But I also really understand that that's not necessary and that that is not, how any of us need to live our lives. And so to ask, show me how easy this can be with gratitude, like that's so powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's honestly transformed my life. Like right now, I look back from just last year to this year doing the same process. It's changed my life. Like I remember going from how am I supposed to make things happen? Like I was looking at how do I pay my rent and my bills and how do I also feed my child? Like so it's like juggling things. And now I look at things and I'm like, it just flowed. Like I got brought the right mentors. I got like everything. Just my guides started taking care of it once I started stepping into that space of, okay, I'm going to put my trust in you and I know you have my back and I'm going to have this conversation with you every day. And it honestly, it's changed my life. Like, plus
Wow.
you add in the healing, but
Say it again.
you add in the healing to it as well.
Yeah, let's talk about that piece. I was just going to ask you, like, do they work on t talk about the healing piece and then I'll ask my question. Yeah.
I do like I honestly like I get healing weekly with my healer and anything that's coming up. So like if we're noticing, okay, like this isn't flowing or that's not flowing, like I'm instantly like, okay, here's what's going on. Let's find out. And like you said before, like with the ancestral, that's such a big piece that people don't even think about. Like you have ancestral wounds and they're going, oh my gosh, this isn't safe for you to have this or to exceed us. And those are huge wounds. So that's where you want to look at. But I also look into past lives. And we dive a lot into that, especially in my work. I do a lot of past life work. And there's past lives where they have contracts and wounds. So I do a lot of healing around it as well. When I notice something's not quite flowing, that's instantly where I turn to.
Like it sounds like in your awareness, you're like, oh, there's something that needs healing here. How do they work with the body when there's something that shows up in the body? You know, we talk a lot about dis-ease and the things that can create that. How is it the same kind of process where you would ask your spirit guides, like,
It's similar. That's a different process. Like you can, because you can just be like, okay, like I'm noticing this pain or something is coming up. Can you help me heal it? You can ask whatever you want because you have guides for that. For me
Mhm.
personally, with channeling, I have processes where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call in my team. I'm gonna call in their team if I'm working on somebody, and I'm now communicating with their team to show me what's going on with them. Like I can listen to my client for a minute and go, okay, show me what's going on. And then we can test, okay, is it past life? Is it ancestral? Like, where is this stemming from that we need to heal? And then their guides are showing me, say if it's past life, they're showing me the past life and going, okay, here's the exact wounding. And then when I'm doing the work, I find my clients are actually feeling it physically and I feel it physically because even though we're going into a past life, it's all stored in the body. It's stored in your Akashic records, it's stored in the body, like it's there. So the answers are instead of me directly going to the body though, I bring their team in and they do the work because they know what needs done, how to take care of it. And so I'm holding that space for them to do it and allowing that energy to flow. They'll be like, okay, this being needs to come in. Like I work a lot with Saint Germain, Archangel Michael. We'll bring them in. We're clearing contracts. So it's like we all have a part to play. It's a community healing, though. It's not just I'm putting my hands on you and I'm doing the healing.
Mm. Wow, I love that. It takes a village.
That's,
I love that. We're so supported by a team of our spirit guides and other angels and humans. Wow, that's amazing. I was going to ask you a question about that. Yeah, it kind of it went from my mind, but wow, that's amazing. So have you seen people heal, I don't know, migraine headaches or pain in their body or cancer or things like that?
oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Every, if you think about it, like when you have a disease or you have dis-ease, whatever's going on in your body's been telling you, hey, something's going on and you're not paying attention. So when you have it actually form into a sickness, it's just blocked up energy that's now made physical. And so when you still heal that and allow that energy to flow again, your body's going to heal itself. And
Hmm.
it's going to be like, oh, wait, we can have this. So you can heal anything that's coming up. I truly believe that is just allowing that energy to flow properly and getting into the right wounds. Because if you've been stabbed in a past life and you're like, well, I don't know why I have this pain, and you're going to healers and they're not even touching the lifetime, it's not going to move. But once you address the core wound, then it's going to flow properly and the pain will vanish.
Wow. And I assume you're doing this virtually with
Yeah.
as well as in person, but that everybody can access you, which is great to know.
Yeah, I don't actually do any in person anymore.
No.
Everything is on Zoom.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's take a quick commercial break and come back for more of this amazingness. Welcome back to Come Back to Love Radio. We are really in for a treat right now, you guys, everyone out there who's listening in Radio Land. We spoke during the break quickly about offering a healing to those that are listening, and that very much includes myself, so I'm so grateful. And Shantana, you were saying that your intuition is telling you that it has to do with the heart. And so, yeah, I'm just open to inviting you to share, to gift, to whatever is coming to you that has to do with us, the two of us, and those that are listening in the greater world today.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to call in. So like the way channeling works is it's kind of it's across time and space. So whenever you're listening to this, your guides will be called in and we're going to do the healing so you'll receive it. Okay. All right. Should take a minute to call everyone in. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do a bit of light language because that is one of the bigger ones that it really shifts energy. So it does sound a little different, but it's frequency. So you just feel and it'll shift deeper than human consciousness can. Andare sede de chiedere chi è la corrore, ante chiasa, ante a corre, ascio. Oi, ante chi è la corro, onde la sente da candara, ashiki, le cotare chiera. Ayakata, aradore, chiera, odere. Yeah, there's a big block in the heart. I'm just picking up on there's some pains. There's quite a few things coming up. Aches, heartbreak, intercadero, loss, loss seems to be a really big one. Oh, yes, so te che adorori le chientetere che ascioccote. Ah, che hai cora cante. Allerosti che l'elenchia ascicode antorra santarara. Ah, entate chiellero urdia atite oha. Ah, chiate andalo cura sientate. Ai asho, ai ro ati, ai racantate. I'm going to transmute that. Just picking up on some different sicknesses because we're working on so many. There's a lot of fear. Ai chiedere ora de andara a chiaro. Eso. Vorrei chiascio con te la collera che te. Ai, curia sante alla lo pote andare a cade. Hi, here we go. Energy shifting now. Oh, esto de la locura. Gonna hold that for a minute. Adesso te alla voce te era curata. Non ti adesso te. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of just heartache, a lot of loss. It seems to be the underlying issue. A lot of struggling too. For that that trust with spirit guides can really help. Just working on that. A little contento rosia de ayalo contiesho de oh and then tori la contiesa de ay cote just gonna download some reassurance, some love. There's that lack of support. It's just feeling very disconnected. That seems to be a big thing too. Just gonna bring in your guides and angels to just hold you and give a lot of that love and support. Alla rokoro siande alla rasia kate. Asada, asada, asada kierko. There we go. Sientore, akada, akada. There, now it's shifting. Just need to feel that love and support. Seems like there's like a disconnect with so many family members for so many people.
Mm.
Isolation, feeling alone. I'm actually just going to bring in healed ancestors. I want you guys all to step forward just to help everybody feel supported and loved in their ancestral lineages. Yashulela candera sunduruti arecandana dodero arecadera sante ayakuru oriarecade ayaraquatea sante. There we go. Starting to actually feel some peace now. Oh. Andro cotera la locori. Ai catando rassi andrà che sciocchiera. Ai ragazza. Ai ragazza la cotea di chi era cote. Alla non di chi andrà cantoro ro anti sciocchiera. Ai sono chi era. Avere, archiatori alla sute. There we go. Are you still feeling any heaviness in your chest?
No, I'm not.
Just want to end it off, then just kind of ground it out. For some people, it's still a little heavy. Ecco, te avanti la coraza. Yes, on the asholele te. Just gonna bring in that connection with the divine. There we go. And that, and dore kiela lere. I can resente. Oh, there we go. That feels better.
Mm.
For anyone that's not fully shifted, I'm just going to allow you to ask your team to just keep working on that so that it can fully shift. But we've grounded your energy out. Make sure you're in your body, in the present. There we go. Thank you.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
You
Thank
feel it
you.
when I do the light language?
Say it again.
Can you feel it when I do the light language?
Oh
Like, can you
yeah.
feel
Yes. Yes, I can feel it like I had some physical vibrating sensations uh on the right like hip area in the beginning and then just energetic shifts. I also asked my spirit guides to show me how easy it could be to receive from you.
I love
Just
that.
to add a little more to the to the potency of the healing. Wow, that was amazing. I hope that everybody who's listening in just allowed themselves to receive that. And as you said, at any point that anyone's listening, their spirit guides will come in and and then they'll receive the healing that you just did. So
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be those listening right now in this very moment, but it's evergreen.
And the more you listen, the more layers they'll work on. Because light language will get deeper and deeper. So you can listen to the same like recording 10 times and it'll get deeper and deeper.
Oh, so okay. So people can re-listen, download. I'm going to recommend listeners now that you download this episode. Not everybody does download, but download from on whatever format you're listening, and then you can repeat listen to this section over and over again, the whole thing, but in particular this section, and it just gets deeper and deeper with the healing. Wow. Oh my gosh, what a huge gift you just gave us. Oh, I'm so grateful. Oh my goodness. All right, we're going to take one more quick commercial break and come back. We are back with the last segment of Come Back to Love Radio today with myself and Shantana Telise, which has been absolutely earth-shattering, to be honest. So incredibly healing. And I hope those of you listening will download this episode and listen again and again. Shantana, how can people contact you?
Through my website is the best way, my email. So my website is shantanatalisehealing.com and my email is shantana@shantanatalisehealing.com. So if you email me, I am on social media, but I respond a lot more on email just because it seems like I do everything on email nowadays. Just a little bit
Perfect.
easier.
Yes, perfect. Easy to reach you, easy to find you with your name. Of course, for those of you looking at any of the pages online, you'll see that information below, and there'll be a link to your website and also to anything that you're offering to our listeners. They'll find that free gift information there as well.
And the free gift. So I do have a free gift. My free gift is a bundle of healing videos. I do a lot of events, so a lot of past life healing, any of that stuff. You can go and watch the replay, and it'll be just the same as like what you just experienced. It'll be as if you were there in person because as I do it, your team will come in and you'll receive the same healing as if you were there live with me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so, so much. Blessings to you, blessings to all the spirit guides that were present with us today, and blessings to everybody who's been listening. We'll see you next week on Come Back to Love Radio on Dream Vision 7. Lots of love, everybody.